Also, I want to talk about these loadout trailers because this is like free trailers that you can use. A lot of times you might have just took your little coins and that's all the coins you had to get up, hustle up this truck. Well, loadout trailers basically are companies that buy a surplus of trailers, and I'm talking about like thousands of trailers, and they need to have them transported around the United States. So what they will do is they'll say, okay, well, you can come pick up this dry van and you can use it for 10 days or 15 days. Just take it to where it got to go on day 15 and you can use it for free. I did that for like 2 years. I was bucking on them trailers too. I was keeping them trailers for like 20 days. Because I'm not going to deadhead 200 miles to take this trailer back, and I'm running good too, baby, please. All my loads dropping off on time, it's lining up. Child, you get this trailer when I see you, okay? But it's so prevalent, they be acting like, we ain't gonna mess with you no more. But they do, because people that have their own trailers and do specialty loads ain't messing with this kind of stuff. This is like a means to an end, how you can kind of like step your game up and get to where you want to go. Because again, we're small businesses. We don't have the same resources that everybody else has. It's not the same for us. So we just gotta be smart about how we move. So it's the free use of trailers, 10 to 15 days, but you can buck a little bit. It's a surplus of trailers that need to be moved, used in exchange for transport. Now these are a couple of companies that you can contact. Now I'm telling you companies that I've used personally. This ain't nothing I heard. So LKC trailers, I used to burn them up. Scott's trail, burnt them up too. One-way trailers, I get with them sometimes. But LKC and Scott's, oh, I burn them up. And it's a great way to save and make money. I mean, wholeheartedly, like, I don't know what I would have did without those trailers. All right, now we're going to talk about freight and where to find it, because this is a very common problem that a lot of trucking companies have. Ports are a great place to find trailers. A lot of us are running in and out of these ports every day, but we're not doing business with them. You working for somebody that's doing business with them, but that don't even make sense. Overseas conventions. I go overseas every year to these conventions. They call break bulk conventions. This stuff is moving globally, and if they're building this Mercedes-Benz, what is this, a stadium right here? Okay, if they're building a stadium right here, chances are the beams, the structural stuff that has to come in, it might have came from Italy. So this is like worldwide business. So I'll go overseas, let's say now, and I'll know of a project coming in August. Well, guess who's sitting right there when these ports come in, like, oh, we got to bring this stuff to your port. Oh, where you at, Virginia? Oh, yeah, where you at, Georgia? Okay. Guess who's sitting right there? Me. Nobody's doing that. We are not doing that. We'll go to Dubai and stunt on these sand dunes and throw in a little Arabic rag and post on Instagram, but we won't go overseas to get no money. Am I lying?
Where at overseas are you?
We about to get into it, girl. Also, the private sector. Government contracts, we're going to get into that. Airports, a great way. Colleges and universities. These are all kind of like, it's almost like we're just not seeing the forest for the trees. These people all have money to spend, millions of dollars, but we stuck on one container. Like what? Now, we're talking about break bulk. You just asked. Top knot, here you go. This for you. So I'm going to be taking a group of people on some trips because I go overseas every year to do this. So these are called break bulk conventions. So as you see, they have one in Dubai. I'm not going to that one. They have one in Asia. They have these every year, all the time. I'm taking a group to the one in May. So if you guys want to get down with that, just get with me after. But this is a great way. Like, people are not doing this. This is worth the ticket right here. Okay? You want to screenshot it? Yeah. So I want y'all to understand how this works. If they're going to build this Mercedes-Benz stadium, they already know this stuff is mapped out years before. Like, you just don't build a stadium in 3 months and say, oh, we're going to build a stadium. That's not how this works. So this stuff is planned out. They know where this stuff is coming from. So let's say this is coming from Germany. That's just for example. Okay, that has to be worked out logistically. I may go over there and they're like, okay, well, we're going to build this stadium and it's going to be built in Georgia. So what's the closest port here? Savannah, right? Okay, this stuff is going to be shipped in to Savannah. I am sitting right there when this conversation is happening. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all understand that? Y'all quiet, because I don't think y'all understand that. Nobody is doing that. That looks like this. When I go over there to these conventions, they got backdrops and all same stuff I got, but it's all trucking stuff. I feel like a small fry when I get over there, because I be like, damn, I'm out of my league, but fuck it, I'm here. That's how you got to be. But people are not doing this information. People are not telling y'all. So use it. Turn up and use this information.
Which one are you going to?
I done clicked the wrong damn button. Hold on. The one in May. Sorry. I got a little too excited. I think I clicked this one. Sorry. You didn't want to see me anyways.
Right here.
Yeah, thank you. Do y'all have that? Come on in here, girl. Do you have a workbook, dear? Yes. Okay. Oh, see? She printed out her workbook, guys. Okay. Just want y'all to know she printed out her workbook, okay? Do y'all have this? Yeah. Okay. So ports. You got to build a relationship with these ports. It makes no sense. Everything coming to you is coming into the port. Whether it's coming by boat, it has to go to the port. Whether it's coming by rail, it has to go to the port. Or whether it's coming by barge, did I say barge? It's coming to the port. Once it gets there, it has to be trucked to where it's got to go. So they got to see me. They have to see you. They got you like you're not going to get around transportation. So if you build a relationship with the port, it will definitely benefit you. Again, attend these conferences. We'll go out of town to stunt, but we don't go out of town to get no money. I don't understand that. It's also a great way to get direct connect to the shippers because those ports are doing business with those shippers directly. So instead of you going through a broker that's got the plug, you be the plug. Mm-hmm. The port will also refer you to customers. They will say they don't, but them people that work in those offices are people too. When they got a big order, they don't want to have to keep looking for people. So if you build a rapport with them, they'll keep tossing you work. That's how I got over here. I went in there, presented myself, took him out to lunch a few times, and guess what? I was on. It's also a catalyst for global business. So again, this stuff is coming from all over the world. We do a lot of business with China as Americans and vice versa. So it's a lot of stuff we can't get that they can. So when it's coming, you already in a position to win. And it's all types of freight coming through that port. Like anything you can imagine. Anything you order, bundles, Christmas trees, what you want. Anything. It's all coming through. Like you're not gonna get past this. It's gotta come to the port. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about escorting your own freight. It keeps your costs very low. So what y'all saw in the video previous was me escorting. Those loads were my loads. So I was in the car. My car was rigged up. I had the signs, the antennas, all that kind of stuff. I was escorting those loads. I think the first bill was like $11,000 for a week worth of work. When I got that bill, I was like, hell no. Something ain't right. So my boyfriend at the time, my dad, me, and his friend, the one that was in the video talking about get the camera off him, we went and got our escort licenses, and I saved that money every week. Also, it's a great way to keep your freight safe. If you're out there, on your loads assisting, you're going to be more inclined to make sure things are on the up and up. You might see something he don't see, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to take care of your stuff like you. Eyes on the ground also. You can prevent a lot of things just by being a little more careful because it's your stuff. If you got a load that's paying it's worth $250,000, you're going to be a little more careful about what's going on. To get your car all rigged up with all the stuff, it's only about $400. So it ain't much money we talking about. Y'all probably got bags of shoes that cost more than that. Miss Chanel. Also, speedy reaction times. A lot of times, your driver is not going to take it, I'm not going to say as serious, but it's not his neck on the line. So when something happens, a lot of these drivers sometimes don't even tell you till, hey, boo, till, I don't know what, hours later. By that time, hell, disaster done struck, right? So when you can prevent things and, react fast, you can cut down on a lot of problems. Also, piloting. Y'all asked me a lot about piloting. It's going to be mandated by your state. However, typically it's going to be that you're going to have to get training about 8 hours from an agency that's already doing it. So I went to another agency where I live. We took the class through their little program. This is the book if any of y'all want to look at it. This is only specific to Virginia. So this will pretty much tell you everything you want to know about piloting, but for Virginia. And then if you take your class at DMV, you just take the test and you get your license. You got to be 21. This is all in Virginia. So again, I would highly suggest that y'all check with your own state. The license is good for 5 years. So right now, I think I'm on my 5th year. Well, I have to renew or either let it go. I'll probably let it go, to be honest with y'all. And also vertical integration. So corner your market. I didn't just do trucking. I scaled it up. I did escorting. We did piloting. We would get drivers on bases that couldn't because their drivers weren't clean and they couldn't get on the bases. So you want to corner everything. You don't want to just offer one thing. It's like doing hair. You don't just want to do natural hair. You want to do weaves, braids, cornrows, waxing, eyebrows, makeup. You really want to do it all. Sometimes people call us Even now, and I don't even have any more trucks, but people will still call and be like, yo, I got a load, it's got to go through Carolina, can you escort it? Maybe, maybe not, but it's a good way to add extra income to what you're already doing. Permits, because you're going to have to pull permits if you're going to want to do these specialty loads. The permits are going to either be single or blanket. Single in Virginia is good for 13 days. Blanket permits are good for the whole year. At the time, they was just tossing them to me, so I didn't really know how many I was going to have. So I would just keep getting a bunch of single ones. But I think the blanket one for Virginia is like $360 for the whole year. But mind you, every town that you travel through and the highways, you have to get a different permit for that city. So it gets a little intricate. I mean, it really ain't though. But, you know, starting off, it could be a little off-putting. But don't let it, it's just like anything else you do. You just pull a permit for another state, you plan your route, you know where your truck is going, you pull the permits for those states. And once you get in the habit of doing it, you'll get your system down. City limits, again, each city that load passes through, you have to have a permit for. That's why they pay so much. Specific routes. Those loads y'all saw were so big, I couldn't just turn down Peachtree. That wasn't gonna work. You can't just turn down, give me another street, the 400 highway. It's not gonna work. So that stuff has to be routed out because some of these roads are not wide enough for that. So you'll have to get with Department of Transportation. So when they check, they're going to say, hey, what's your route? You're going to tell them your route, and they might be like, that ain't going to work because 85 ain't going to work. So you might got to reroute it. The permit department, they was sick of me because I knew my stuff better than they knew it. So they would try to now mind you, I got these loads, they paying me almost $6,000 a load. And the permit department trying to hold me up. Y'all not gonna hold my money up? That's 30 grand a day. You think I'm about to let you hold me up over a piece of paper? No ma'am, no sir. So I would call up above the head, on to their superiors. They was tired of me, but they gave me my permit though, okay? Those loads were also so wide, and sometimes depending on what you have, I had to have nighttime travel because the stuff was so wide, they didn't want that stuff on the road all times of the day. It's just more, more dangerous. So you have to get special requirements. They'll grant it. Also, you have a lot of contractors who are doing night work. So Department of Transportation is going to make sure that no night work is going on because you can't just roll down Auburn Avenue and they doing, night work. You're going to knock everything over. It's not going to work. They are going to ask on your permit, they're going to ask, and this is why you got to know your truck. They're going to ask the measurements of the first to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth axle. And they're going to ask the weight on each one. So I don't want y'all to be intimidated when you see this stuff because it could be very off-putting if nobody kind of get you together on this. But I mean, it's just like anything else. The information is right here. Don't be afraid. I'm telling you, this stuff works. And then also police escorts. Some towns will require a police escort where another town won't. But these police are not regular police. You're asking a state trooper to escort your load. So a lot of times, I would call, and I would be like, yeah, can I speak to officer so-and-so? And he would get on the phone. I'd be like, hey, I have 3 loads coming through tonight. They're 25 feet wide. We need a police escort. Now think about it. He's not getting paid any extra money for this. And I'm bringing this stuff at midnight. So he'll be like, nah, you good. Just tell Lieutenant such and such if they pull you, you good. They don't want to do this stuff either. So a lot of times you can kind of get by. And if I get pulled over, I just say, hey, Lieutenant such and such told me it was all right. But ain't nobody really going to mess with a caravan of 3 trucks and 4 cars lit up coming down the highway. Nobody's going to mess with that. Vehicle safety compliance. We talked about this a little bit earlier. You saw the car, some of it. You got to have flags. And this stuff costs little to no money, y'all. Really $400 you can do this with. Lights, of course. You got to have a light on top flashing. CB radio. Antenna, of course. A height pole if your load is tall. If your load is not tall, don't worry about the height pole. Wide load signs, of course, because some idiot on the road, this lit up caravan that's going to act like he didn't see you. Chains and binders, of course, to strap your load down. And then also pre and post trip inspections, which you should be doing that anyways. And an equipment inspection. Every so often you should be checking that load. I don't care what it is. If it's paying that much and it's worth that much, you need to make sure that it's, it's okay. So just be looking out your window. You can stop, whatever. Depends on how many miles you have to go. Also measurement and weights. So the metrics that your load dimension should be coming in is length times width times height. Sometimes if you're dealing with a broker from overseas, they will try to send it to you in their metric. So you want to make sure that it's in our metrics because it needs to be converted. If it's not, it could be detrimental to the load. You don't want to go in that bridge. That's 4.7, whatever that is, meters, I guess, I don't know. You don't want to go up under there and you're 6 tall. You're going to knock the whole thing down. Or the load going to be completely ruined. You don't want that. So these measurements are imperative to the route. Again, we talked about you can't go down Peachtree any old kind of way. So don't try to like sneak your load and knock down a light pole, because I seen that happen. Again, different requirements for each state. So wherever your state is or wherever your load is going to pass through, you just want to check and make sure that everything's going to up and up, your route is together, and everything's going to be, safe. Again, we talked about it's the first to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth for the actual measurements and the weight on each load, and also the weight of the load by itself. You cannot put a 60,000 pound weight or load on a trailer that can only carry 40,000 pounds. You're gonna be sitting on all flats. Y'all come on in. So this stuff is for you to be safe and keep your equipment together also. And also, just any special circumstances about your commodity is what you need to know. Styrofoam is going to be hell taking it down the road. You hauling glass, whatever you're hauling, that it needs to be, special care. You just want to make sure you're very familiar with that, because you don't want to F nothing up. Potential customers. I want y'all to either screenshot this. ATS, these are companies I've worked with myself. I do not recommend stuff unless I've done it for you. I think it's a total disservice. I made a lot of money with ATS. I don't got nothing bad to say about them. Landstar, I made a lot of money with them too. Mercer, Ports, definitely made a lot of money with them. Bennett, I'm gonna just run down the line. These are just a few you guys could either Google, and they'll send you a carrier packet, and you can get on with them. Google some more, because there's not a lot, but there's a lot. Like, it would have been like 3 slides for me to put all of them. But if you just Google heavy haul companies, you'll get a list of all the companies that do heavy haul. Especially if you run in like all 48 states, you can sign up with all of them. Do y'all have this? Because I don't want to move if y'all don't have it. Y'all got this? All right. Now I'm going to talk about government contracts, because this is why I invite everybody to come.